Hi, my name is Rex Wynn. I'm an IronSpeed designer and VP, and today I'm going to be doing a demonstration for incorporating third-party controls into IronSpeed Designer. To do this, I'm going to leverage Visual Studio.NET 2005 and an example project provided by Component Art done in C#. Language specific doesn't matter so much as understanding the concepts. So what we're going to go over is leveraging Visual Studio to get the code that we need to make this transition of the third-party control into IronSpeed seamless and painless. Visual Studio does a lot of this stuff for us automatically, and I think as it does this, we kind of lose touch with some of the processes involved in making web applications work. So this demonstration is going to focus on some of those foundations. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, I've got a Visual Studio application open already, and this is the bare bones grid example that is provided by Component Art in their installation directory. And what I've done is I'm in C Program Files Component Art. I've gone into the Web UI, and we're in the Live Examples folder, the grid directory, and I'm in the design folder, and I want the bare bones example. This example is a very plain grid that outputs the data for us. It's just a real simple way for me to demonstrate this concept overall without distracting you guys with too many of the details. So let's get IronSpeed ready for this. To begin with, we've got the Application Explorer. I've got a new project I've created. We don't have the control, we don't have any of the code that we need to do this yet. So let's lay the framework for what we need to do in order to make this control run. To start that, I'm going to go into the third-party directory, and you'll notice this is the application root and the project name of the in IronSpeed. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to create a new directory, and you can actually do this here manually, or you can do it inside of IronSpeed. It doesn't really matter at this point. If we do it here manually, what I wanted to demonstrate is that IronSpeed hasn't picked up this change, and it won't unless we hit this refresh button. Now when we refresh the project inside of IronSpeed's going to go through and it's going to update the list of directories, the files, etc. And now we should have that directory in here. And we do. And so now what I want to do is I want to add a new page. And I want to use the empty page style, and I'm going to call this Component Art Grid Example. It's going to create in our demonstrations directory, and I'm going to click OK. And briefly, for those of you who are new to IronSpeed Designer, I'm sure one of your frustrations is that you get into IronSpeed and you're immediately dismayed. Oh, let me stop here. We have created that page, Component Art Examples, but until we build this project, there's nothing for us to look at. So let's take a sec this so that IronSpeed will generate the code and the supporting files for us to begin working in this project. Now I'm going to go back in here, and if we look at this, we should have everything that we need. Now we have that supporting code page. Let's go back to the design view though, and I'll finish explaining how a frustration that I think a lot of people have when they come to IronSpeed is that they want to jump into this ASPX page and immediately start editing and working the way that they're used to. And IronSpeed doesn't allow this. This file is locked, as you can see over here. And the only way that we can make changes that are going to show up in here is by using this HTML page. And through this example, I'm going to demonstrate how we can use this HTML page to do what we need to do and to stave off a lot of the frustration that people experience when wanting to edit this file. So let's get our IronSpeed project now set up in such a way that we can bring in this Component Art Grid control and get it set up and running. To do that, we need to bring in the reference library that Component Art needs. And I've got that right here, and I copied this out of the Component Art bin directory from the default install. I just copied it out of here and I pasted it into our bin directory. inside of our application. This is how this control is going to get created using this file, and this is a Microsoft.NET assembly. The next thing we need to do is bring in some supporting files that are going to configure the properties in this grid with some styles, tell it where to get its data, things like that. And I'm going to get those again from that component art example directory. Here I am in the bare bones. I want two things out of here. I want this grid style.css, and this is just a cascading style sheet that's going to configure the visual properties of our grid. And then I need the images, which are going to support that cascading style sheet's configuration. And I'm going to bring those back into my third-party application, and I'm going to paste those into the demonstrations folder. In order for this to work according to the example provided by component art, I need one other file, and I'm going to get that again from the component art directory, and I'm going to go up here into this common area, and there's this database directory that has an access database, and I'm just going to copy this, and again I'm going to paste it here inside of our demonstrations folder. I could put it anywhere, but for the sake of this example it doesn't make sense for me to put it higher up in the web root, since we're only going to use it here in this page. And that's about it. This is how we go about getting a third-party control set up for use in IronSpeed. I actually haven't discussed how we use directives to bring this control into IronSpeed. I haven't demonstrated any code. What I wanted to go through were the basic mechanics that you go through in order to be able to use a third-party control in your IronSpeed application. So in the next video of this series, we're going to talk about the code, and I'm going to use Visual Studio 2005 and IronSpeed again side by side to bring this component art control live and use it application. So if this is something that you're interested in, make sure you download the next video, and I'll join you there shortly.